Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and today I've got a Lost Caverns of Ixalan pre-release pack. I'm going to open it up, show you exactly what's inside, and build a sealed deck with you to kind of show how it works at a pre-release, to give you a little hint of what to expect. Now, I had a video come up yesterday talking about the various archetypes you can play in Lost Caverns of Ixalan Limited, so if you want to find out more about the archetypes, go watch that video, and for a bit about what a pre-release is and how it works. But today we're going to crack this thing open and actually put it into action. You've only scratched the surface, or so it says. All right, let's crack this open. So we got a little bit of exploration on the inside of our pre-release pack. Some punch-out counters, really nice if you don't have dice handy to be able to just, show what's going on. Little things are finality counters going on right here, stun counters. You got some options. You can punch these out if you want. And there's this little window back here. In fact, if I punch this out, little window back here with some, little art hiding back there. So that's kind of cool. But of course, the thing we're all excited about is what is in this box right here. This gorgeous little deck box. We've got a spin down D20, set symbol right there, plum in the center. We've got this little insert. Now on one side of this, it's got this fun little kind of showing off a bunch of different dinosaurs, because people love dinosaurs. And what's not to love here? Even all the way down to the ocean. Dinosaurs hanging out down there. And on the back, some tips about building a deck. Now, we're going to go into this today. I covered this in my video yesterday as well. But if you want some deck building tips, it comes right here in your sealed deck. You're also allowed to ask for people for help for people at the pre-release. So don't be afraid to do that if you need to. You get this little divider right here to divide your deck from your sideboard. So just a nice little thing. You also get this guy. Ooh, a pre-release card. Yeah, that's a really nice one. Restless Anchorage. This is one of the new dual lands that come out in Lost Caverns of Ixalan. These finish out the cycle from Wilds of Eldraine and are pretty exciting. This one makes a map token. I love a little thing that I think is really cool is they all become a creature, like a bird, for example, and the art shows the land mass like that creature. So this is one of the more obvious ones. This is clearly a bird in the artwork, but some are a little more subtle. There's some punch-out counters as well here on the back. I'll just crack this open. You can play with this card in your deck. So you're going to want to crack this thing open so you can, put it in and smash people with it if you want to play it. Yeah, there it is on all its glory, Restless Anchorage. And here's the punch-out counters. Very cool. And then we've got 6 booster packs right here to crack open and build our deck with. Set this off to the side now. So I'm going to kind of show you what my process is. So the first thing I do, and I know this is controversial, okay? Not everyone likes that I do this, but I do it. It really is, I think, the best thing for your game store, is to crack open all 6 packs at the same time. The reason I do that is so that all the trash can just get opened up, and then your game store owner can come by and pick it up. You can throw it out, whatever the case might be. It just makes things a little bit faster. I know you're tempted to open up one at a time. If you really love that, don't let me stop you, but it just helps expedite the entire thing and makes it just a little better for your game store to be able to come by and pick up all the trash at one time. But my pre-release card out here too, I suppose. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all these cards, I'm going to sort them by color, and I'm just going to kind of go through and pull out all the ones of the same color, set the tokens aside while I'm doing this, and all kinds of cool treatments and stuff I'm seeing here. We'll sort through what they are in a second. Oh man, I love, they just stand out so much when you get a card like this, right? With the cool booster fun treatments. But so, just as a little reminder, if you haven't built a sealed deck before, we're gonna try and play probably about 2 colors. You can occasionally splash a third if we have a strong reason to, but we're probably gonna be playing about 2 colors. And we're looking to build about 23 spells, creatures, and non-creatures that we want to play. And then we're looking for about 17 lands, and that can include non-basic lands as well, which this set has plenty of, given caves, which I did a little video on. You can go watch if you want. And things we're going to be really looking for are evasion, so mechanics like flying or otherwise unblockable creatures that can get through, because often games, especially in sealed, get a little bit gummed up. We're going to be looking for, of course, removal, things that just kill off our opponent's creatures, and then also just a good mana curve. Now, if you're not familiar with the idea of a mana curve, it basically means cards you want to be able to play, cards with a variety of mana costs, so that at all stages of the game you have something to play, right? If you play all 6 drops, well, that's going to mean you're going to die before you get there. If you play all 2 drops, you're going to be outclassed by the time you get to 4 and 5 mana. So you want a kind of good variety, especially in sealed. And I would say more limited games are won over any other way by just playing creatures on curve, turn after turn, and attacking your opponent, maybe with a removal spell mixed in there. So a good curve goes a long way, especially in sealed, where folks' decks are often a little more disjointed and slow. It really goes a long way here. And then also, of course, we're gonna look for any awesome bomb rares. At the end of the day, having a really powerful rare is gonna win you some games. So nothing wrong with that. If you open a bomb rare and you just want to play it, go for it. Although it is important to not get trapped by a bomb rare. I think a lot of times people see a sick rare and they're like, oh, I definitely want to play that rare, and maybe the rest of their colors don't support it. So you got to be careful not to get trapped by it. But hey, if it's awesome and you're excited about it, plus in sealed, usually you can make it work if you absolutely have to. Although maybe it's not right too sometimes. Okay. Well, I got 2 of the same rares. Well, we're going to be getting into that in a second. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up in Wooburg order. Because, I don't know. I've worked with Wizards of the Coast for too long, I think, to not do that. All right, now we're going to look through each of these stacks. And we're going to kind of, I'm going to set, even though this land is gorgeous, and check out that cool mountain. Even though all these are cool, I'm just going to set these off to the side here. Set off these tokens to the side, and now I'm going to go through color by color and kind of just evaluate them and see what we've got and kind of see how strong they look. So let's take a look at what we got here. So this card's all right. You make some tokens and then they go away. There's an artifact deck you can play, so this card's okay. Yeah, this card's also okay. I'm really looking for what are the strongest cards in the card? What are the evasive cards? What are the removal spells? So here's a rare. Kellen is totally decent, right? If you're white-green especially, you get to get this extra bonus of map tokens, but even if you're just playing a 2-mana 2/3 that gives you a bonus, it's a solid card. It's not like a bomb or anything like that, but it's not bad. This is a good flyer. 4-mana 3/2 that comes with the 1/1 is really nice. This card's decent, right? You get a basic land early, and then you can get some creatures late, turn into this Anthem kind of effect, so that card's solid. This flyer is okay, but it's a little on the expensive side. It's a good sack card. This card's okay, it scries you 2 and then can turn to a creature on the backside, and then one of these. White, not looking that impressive, I'll be honest with you. There's one flyer here that I kind of like, but there's no removal spells. Kellen is nice, but white is a little under for me, so hopefully we find some other good stuff later on down the road. All right, so take a look at blue. Really, evasion, if you just look for evasion and flyers, evasion and removal, that'll get you most of the way to figure out what your colors are if you just want to cheat it some of the time, right? That'll help you out a good deal. And your bomb rares, of course. This card is good in very specific decks. You don't always want this, though. Yeah, Defender, that card's okay. This is a cheap flyer that gives you mana for artifacts. I mean, maybe there's some kind of blue-white artifact deck you can build. This is a pretty generic creature. This card is quite good. This is, I don't know if I put it in bomb category because it costs 6 mana, but making a token that's a creature with flashback allows you to just take control of the long game and make 2 copies of your best creature. Plus, if it has an enters the battlefield effect, it's quite strong, so that card's pretty good. Another kind of boring creature. This is sort of a removal spell. You can put it on their creature and they'll probably can't attack you, but they can still chump block with it at some point, so not the best. This guy's good. This is 3-mana 2/2 flyer that comes with a map, so maybe even a 3-mana 3/3 flyer, or it draws you a land if you do it right. So that card is quite good. Balance, that gives you a map, not bad. Map is a new mechanic that creates a token. You can spend 1 mana and sack to make something explore, so that's kind of nice. This card's solid, 6-mana 4/4 flyer, and if you have Descended 4, which is decently easy to do by the time you get to 6 mana. Not every time, but you'll have it a lot of the time. You can bounce one of their things, so that card is solid. Yeah, blue's okay. It's got a couple good flyers. It's got a removal-ish spell. I'm really hoping we can get pulled up by our other colors here. Let's see what we got here in black. Black, of course, color removal. Also, just a lot more cards, right? Now, the density of cards isn't, there's way more black cards than blue cards. But the density of cards, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I've got the most black cards, I should play black. That can be extremely misleading because at the end of the day, all you need is 23 spells. It doesn't matter if you have 1 extra card in your sideboard or 20 extra cards in your sideboard you could have played. You just need 23. So while there's a higher chance you'll have quality cards if you have more, it's not necessarily indicative of that. So this card's pretty solid, though. A 3-mana 1/3 Death Touch is a totally good blocker, and it's got this Descend ability that can let you draw cards once you've descended, so that card is quite nice. Infest style card, also quite solid. Dies to Discover 3. I mean, it's a 5-mana card, so not like, I don't love it, but it's a totally solid card you can play. This card's all right. If you're descending, here's a mythic rare. So yeah, this card is quite strong. 5-mana 4/4 flying lifelink is a very strong start with a wide variety of abilities. When you attack, they discard a card, and then if they discard stuff, you get bonuses or you draw cards. And when it dies, it comes back as this land. So that is very exciting. That's quite a good card. So this is a bomb rare for sure. Also, it's a bat god, so I mean, what's not to love there? Removal spell that then turns into a this artifact, which is kind of nice, right? You can craft it with a token you've got lying around, right? Card in your graveyard. Card's okay, although when you have bomb rares like Akataz, this kind of thing gets a lot better, where you can keep getting it back or search for it out of your graveyard, mill a couple cards, take it. It's an okay one drop. This is a lot of times one drops unlimited are a little unimpressive. This card is actually better than most, given that it dies to give you a treasure and scry one. I mean, I still don't always love it, but this is pretty nice. 4 mana, 4/3 that gives you tokens. I'm liking what I'm seeing here in black. Another one of these, another one of these. This card is okay. This is a decent equipment. +2/+1 is not too shabby. This card's great, right? You look at their hand and you take a card of it. It's Mesmeric Fiend with Flying and Lifelink, so that's quite good on turn 2. You take their bomb rare or their creature on curve, frankly. They may miss their 2-drop or 3-drop. This card is solid as well. Solid Swamp Cycler. I love all the Swamp Cyclers, or all the Land Cyclers, because they just help you hit your land drops early, and then late game you just have these huge creatures in your deck, so it's kind of good at any point. Okay, Black looks quite good. It's got a bomb rare, it's got a removal spell or 2, got some solid creatures. Could definitely see us playing black. So that's a pretty good start there. Let's see what we got in red. Kicking off with a rare Inti, Seneschal of the Sun, which is a pretty solid card. Allows you to kind of, it's a 2-mana 2/2 that allows you to bottle the top card of your library pretty easily, so that's nice. Combat Trick, fine creature. Pretty weak card there. 4 mana, 4/3 menace. It grants menace. Totally solid. Another one of those. Raptor, good, right? 4 mana, 3 mana, 4/3. Pretty solid card. And it messes with them if they want to cast combat tricks or whatever counter spells during your turn. 2 mana 2/2. Like, I love a good 2 mana 2/2. This has a small upside if you got a dinosaur. Totally solid. Here's Breaches. This card's pretty cool. 3 mana 3/3 First Strike, which is quite strong. First Strike and Limited, by the way, really underrated, because you can leave them up on blocking. I did a whole video on the power of First Strike, but you can leave them up to block, and it's very hard to attack into, because anything with 3 or less toughness just can't attack into this, and it takes a lot of creatures to be able to attack into a 3/3 First Striker. So even though he's got an attack trigger, it makes a really solid blocker too. And this card is great, right? You play him, you attack starting on turn 4, you get to exile the top card of your library and play at that turn. They probably can't block. You get a lot of value out of this, so that's quite a good card. Yeah, this card's okay. You can deal some damage, maybe. This is sort of a removal spell. You gotta send your creature into combat, though, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, pretty okay card. If you're in the red-white deck, is kind of like this tapping matters deck. This is good in that deck. It's only okay otherwise. Another Dynamatomaton, another Sunfire Torch. So red, okay. Red does not have the removal spells I was hoping it was going to have, which is a bummer. It does have 2 quite strong rares in Breaches and Inti. So, I mean, that's really nice. Sunfire Torch is fine, right? You can play it, you can equip it, and if you are going to attack that turn anyway, you can use it as a shock. So, it's fine. It's not as good as like a target removal spell, though. Let's look at our green. 3 mana 3/3 that gives you a bonus if you have a dino. Just 3 mana 3/3 is usually good enough to play on its own. If you got the dino, you gain 3 life, so solid. This card has some versatility, which is nice, killing off their artifact or enchantment or letting you double explore. I'm not in love with it, but it's fine. This card's an okay blocker early on. That's if you're descending, turns out to be solid. This card's great though. 4 mana 4/5 Reach Trample. 4 mana 4/4. You'll play unlimited a lot of the time anyway. Reach Trample is just icing on the cake. That's delightful. This card is just okay. It is nice to be able to get this huge 7/7 on the backside later in the game, but the front side of distributing 3 counters is on the weaker side, so you know you don't love it. Another one of these capybaras. Spider is good though. 4 mana 3/4 Reach. Mills 2. That card is nice. This card is excellent, right? It's a ramp spell, basically. It just helps you hit your stuff earlier. And limited, you've got plenty of basic forest lying around. So this card is not only going to be a constructed player, but is quite solid and limited. Do not underestimate the power of ramp, especially in a format with a lot of dinosaurs. This card's okay. You get 3 mana ramp that then, if you have caves later on, can turn into a 5/5. A fine card. I find combat trick equipment here. Another 3 mana 3/3. This forest cycler. Okay, well, this is a fight spell, so that's nice. This pool's looking a little light on removal, and this is a prey upon, basically, with a small bonus, so that's really nice to have around. 2 mana 2/2, solid, gives something trample. Oh, 2 of them, that's nice. It looks like our 2 drops might be a little short based on what I'm seeing in other places, so that's good. And then 5 mana 5/4, trample with small upside. That's fine. Just look at our lands really fast. We've got a few of these Discover Caves, which are kind of solid. They just let you sack to discover 4. They're fine. You'll probably usually play these. Just lands you can cash in for spells later on is nice. This is a mana fixer in the Promising Vein, so sure. Probably not going to play this Volatile Fault. This kills non-basic lands. Usually it's not worth the colorless source. And then this is good if you're blue-white, but based on what we saw, I do not think I'm going to be blue-white. I think those are 2 weakest colors. Artifacts, let's see what we got here. This is a 2-mana 2/1 that lets you discover 4 later in the game if you want to, so this card is totally fine. Also getting cards out of the graveyard. There's enough graveyard synergies in the set. It can matter. There's this Cartographer's Companion, 3/2/2 and make a map. 3-mana 2 and make a map. I don't love this card. It's a hole filler in your deck if you really need it, but I'd probably avoid it most of the time. This vehicle is okay, but also not something I'm totally wild about. 3-mana 3/3 is usually I want it to be a little bit bigger for a 3-mana vehicle. Making the treasure's good. You can accelerate, but keep in mind that it's hard to accelerate into a 5-drop meaningfully with this, because if you have to have a 2-drop into a 3-drop to be able to do that, and then your 2-drop isn't attacking that turn. Normally with vehicles, your play pattern is you want to play a new creature and then use the new creature that can attack that turn to crew your vehicle. But if you're trying to accelerate into a 5-drop, you can't play the 5-drop first, so it's a little weaker than it looks. Another Companion. This Blowgun, it's fine. You know, it's a +1/+1 and Death Touch equipment on your turn. Fine card. 6 mana, deals 6 with cycling. I love, of course, the flavor of the Runaway Boulder. This card you're not going to play that often. You can in a pinch. It's got cycling, so it's easy to throw away, but don't love it. And another Blowgun. Let's take a look at these rares. We got 2 copies, count them, 2 copies of Polani's Hatcher. So anytime you get 2 copies of a rare, that's something to be thinking about. So it's a 5/3 that gives your other dinosaurs haste, so quite good if you're in a dinosaur deck. Makes 2/0/1s when it comes into play, and then at the beginning of combat, you can sack one of those eggs to get a 3/3 dino. So it's basically a 5-mana 5/3 that comes with a 3/3 haste. Quite a strong card. Then it evolves to another 3/3 haste next turn. So this card is really good. Getting 2 of them, very solid. And a reason why you might want to consider getting red and green into your deck. This blue-green guy is great if you're doing kind of the merfolk thing. It's basically the Explorer Signpost uncommon. I do not think we're going to be doing that, but it's good if you're going in that direction. And this card is also quite strong. This card explores every single turn and also clones to be another copy of a creature. So if I was going green-blue, I would definitely want these guys. I think the problem is just the blue just looks so on the weak side to me. It's got some decent cards, it even has some exploring cards, but it's got this, it's got some flyers, but it doesn't really have a lot of removal, and it's not really that deep of a color. To me, so at this point, I've evaluated all my cards. I think blue and white are going to be out, so I'm just going to move them. Theoretically, I mean, maybe I could find a way to splash Deep Fathom Echo if I really wanted to, potentially. But I think blue and white are going to be out, so I'm just going to set these over here, and this land is also going to go away. All right. So now the big question for me is, what of these do I want? Now my black looks like my best color by far to me, I think. It's got this guy who's quite strong. It's got some removal. It's got some decent creatures. So like black looks really good. The allure of red to me is these 2 rares are quite nice. These Sunfire Torches, we'll play them, I think, because we're just going to be low on removal. And it's got some okay creatures. It's a little crowded at 4. It's got like 3 Dynamatomatons, I think. Just 2 Dynamatomatons, but still, it's pretty crowded at 4. And then green just looks like a solid color with a removal spell, some creatures that are on curve, some 2-drops, and then the bonus of playing red-green is you get to play both of these. So it's kind of this traditional question of do you want to try and play these 2 strong rares? How do your curves work out? And normally what I would do is I would kind of try and build both decks. Now, and we're going to do that right here in a second. One thing I will also note as a possibility that we could do is we could go black-green or maybe black-red, and then just try and splash these guys, splash these 2, because these are so strong on their own. And we do have the Promising Vein for mana fixing, so that's really notable. Let me see, in green, did we have any other kind of mana fixing? No, this card does not fix your mana. It only finds forests, so that's not gonna do it. This card, if we don't play green as a primary color, we could play this Forest Cycler to search for a forest if we need to. Although it's hard to do that. It's hard to splash with it really because of the double green. So it's not the best thing to splash for. So red looks like, I mean, it's got these 2 strong cards. I do wonder if we go black-green and splash red for these 2 Polani's Hatchers, because it is just so strong. I mean, Breaches is really good too. So let's try building. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to set these lands off to the side, although I'll bring them back in a second. I'll set these artifacts off to the side. I would love to have some artifact mana fixer here, but you know, the Careening Minecart kind of does it. It gives you a treasure. We can look at that if we have to. Let's set these aside for a second. And let's look at what black-green looks like here. Now, black-green is kind of a grindy descend deck. If you watch my archetype video, it's kind of the grindy descend deck. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay out my cards on my mana curve. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put at the top of my mana curve the highest cost creatures, and at the bottom of my mana curve the lowest cost creatures. I'm going to put spells that I'm interested in playing down below. So, well, this is actually kind of a bad example because this I would put right here. I'll explain why I'm doing that in a second. But like this fight spell, I'll put down here in the 1-drop spot over off to the side. The reason why I do this is you want to see what cards you're going to be playing on the turn that you would play them. I think a lot of people make this mistake with their mana curves. Malamet Battleglyph, this is a 1 mana cost card, but you're never actually playing this on turn 1. It's a fight spell. You play this later in the game. It's good to know that you have it as a 1 cost card in your deck, but it's not a 1-drop. Where Glimpse the Core, even though despite being a spell, it is a 2-drop, right? You are going to play this on turn 2, so it's a pretty notable difference. So I'm trying to put cards in the slot I'm actually going to want to play them at. So you know, I've got this like Colossal Dactyl. It's a solid creature that goes here. Basking Capybara, it's, you know, it's not killing, but as a Descend 4, like, it's more possible this thing will be able to, this deck will be able to do it given it's green-black, and that's kind of the archetype we got going on here. Got these 2 Malamet Brawlers as 2-drops. Maybe we play this 5-drop guy. I'm gonna set that bigger drops off to the side here. Got a little bit of room on this playmat, so I'm gonna just scurry on over. And sorry about the glare on that 1-drop there. Could play this guy if we need to. If we're descending a bunch, as this deck is probably likely to, I think this card is decent. Because black-green wants to be the grindy descend deck, right? You want to do some self-milling. Alcatraz for sure on 5. This Blade is solid, make them sack a creature. I think if we're black-green, we're going to want these another chances to mill cards, at least one of them. Maybe we don't play both of them. I think we're not doing the sack thing, so I'm probably not going to play this Acolyte here. We want to play this Bat. Want to play these Skull Takers, who are quite strong. We can consider playing the Spike Tail. Keep in mind, by the way, that cycling also triggers descending and gets permanents into your graveyard for descent. So that's good to keep in mind. This helps get lands, which might help fix our colors. Maybe we want to play that. I don't know that we're in a deck for Infest, so I'll put that over here. We might not end up playing it. I don't think we really want a lot of combat tricks. I don't really want the freebooters in this deck. We do want this guy that makes tokens every turn. This equipment, maybe not. So, and if we were to splash red in this deck for these 5-drops, we would just play these 2 Hatchers probably. I think that's probably the only card we splash for. You could talk about Breaches, because he is so strong, but I just don't think we're going to want to play that many red sources, and not enough to get him out on turn 3 a lot of the time. So this is where I start just thinking about how this deck looks. So in terms of mana curve, this deck's mana curve looks pretty solid, right? We got lots of 2 options, and we're gonna have to cut some of these cards. We got lots of 2 options, lots of 3 options, only 3 4s, but they're all pretty good. We're a little over on 5, so I think we probably just like cut these if we go down this path. You just play these, so all your 5-drops are just these bangers, and you have these guys at the top end. I'm just curious how many cards this is. Let's take a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it's 25 cards. We have to cut 2 cards from this. Definitely works. This deck definitely plays. It's got a lot of permanence, but that's okay because you want to if you're descending, right? If you are trying to hit a descend number, you want to have a lot of permanence around. So this deck, pretty solid, all right? It even has some extra dinosaurs for like, you know, the Polonius Hatcher giving these guys haste in the late game. Quite good. This deck looks solid to me. It's a little light on removal, but my whole pool is light on removal. It does have the Tithing Blade and the Malamet Battleglyph. I gotta cut 2 cards from here. I can come back and figure that out in a moment, because what I want to do is now try building the other deck. And so I guess what I should say is, if I didn't want to splash these guys, I would probably bring in like one of those 5-drops or something like that. But I think given how this deck is shaping out and black-green is a slower deck, I think I just am gonna want to play these guys if I'm in black-green. So if I'm black-green, I'm definitely gonna play these. Okay, now let's take a look at the other direction. This is kind of how trying out different colors works. So let's cut all the green cards for a second. let's take a look at what black-red base splashing green looks like, right? So let's imagine that we're still playing the Polani's Hatcher, and maybe we even do splash the Malamet Battle Glyph. Let's imagine for a second we're playing black-red, and let's lay out those cards, see what they look like. So here's what our curve begins to look like. I don't know that we want to play this Hotfoot Gnome. Maybe we play the Hotfoot Gnome. We're not going to play these Tectonic Hazards. We can play the Dynamatomatons, however you say that. Scytheclaw Raptor, definitely play. Play this Burning Sun Cavalry. We could play this Militia. I don't love it. We would play both these Sunfire Torches, because once again, we are just so low on removal spells. Going to talk about the Dynamatomaton again. This guy, maybe you play, although I think we're pretty good on 5-drops. So here's how this deck shapes up. Things I like about it are you have basically it's exactly what I would have assumed from the outset. You get 2 more removal spells in the Sunfire Torches. You get these 2 quite strong red cards, but beyond that, it just looks so much weaker to me than my green deck. Right, the green just has, I think it just has better stuff. Right, if you look at what you're getting a much more solid removal spell than the Sunfire Torch. Breaches and Scytheclaw Raptor may be better than the Kincaller, so you can argue that, but these 4-drops are way stronger than Dynamatomaton. I mean, this 4/3 Menace is solid, but 4/5 Reach Trample or 3/4 Reach mill 2 cards is quite nice. And I think the 2-drops are except for the Anati, which the rare is, these 2-drops, Malamet Brawler and Glimpse the Core are strong, right? Glimpse the Core is going to be really strong when you're trying to ramp into 5-drops, because if you play one of these guys on turn 4, it's just going to be absolutely backbreaking. So I think I prefer the black-green splash red version. The last thing I want to look at is just straight red-green. So if I cut all these black cards, how does that look, right? So we don't play Akatos in that case, but maybe just straight red-green is the way to go. So let's try and see what that looks like. You get all your Dino synergies working in this case, right? So we're gonna play some of these guys. There's this Stone Tree, which maybe you play, maybe you don't. I'm pretty on the fence about that. These Capybaras are a lot worse in this deck. Here's how this curve looks. Looks all right. You're low on removal. It's got a really good curve. You get to play like a lot of your best cards besides Akatos. Now this card is just so strong that on its own, if this card lands and they don't kill it, your opponent's just gonna lose. It's like Baneslayer Angel, basically, which is an incredible limited card. Obviously, if they have a removal spell, you just get the land out of it. But even then, the land is pretty good because it turns back into this guy. So I don't know, man. It's pretty hard to not play Aklazots. I'm probably sorry if I'm not pronouncing it properly. Yeah, I mean, you could go with the red-green deck, but I think I'm going to be greedy. In sealed, often the games are slower. You just want to have access to bombs. And while not playing breaches is kind of unfortunate, I think I just want the strong 5-drop bombs in my deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the black-green version, and let's finish out building that. But I'm curious what you would do. Let me know in the comments down below which deck you would build. If you just want to go straight red-green dinos, if you're going to be greedy like me and try and play all these. So let's just finish out this deck build here and make the final picks. So Tithing Blade goes here, Canonized in Blood. Maybe may or may not stick around. And these are all the green cards I think I'm less interested in. This guy, yes. This guy probably not. We have other 5-drops. This guy, I think we have enough other 5-drops. We don't need this alone. I guess I'll put it down just in case. You can play this, but I think we're good. The thing about this card is I mean, Infest is good against some decks. I would sideboard this in some matchups, but our deck's pretty good at gumming up the ground. So a lot of the like 2/2s and 1/1s, I'm not too worried about anyway. Although, of course, yes, you would sideboard it in certain cases. I think we can talk about playing the breaches if we want to. And then when it comes to the artifacts here, I don't really want a ton. I don't think this is really an equipment deck for this blowgun. If you have ways, the creatures that can deal damage some way, it's quite good, but I don't think we're going to want that. The Minecart helps fix our mana. Maybe we could consider it here. We could maybe consider this Dig Site Conservator. We're definitely going to want this Promising Vein. I think we're going to want the 2 caves. I think that's what we're going to want to be considering. So in terms of lands, I think we're definitely going to be playing these guys. So I'm just going to set these over here. That's right on the glare. Set them over here instead. Here's our little mana zone. And now we gotta mix. I'll lay this down. I just don't think I want to play this minecart. It does fix our mana. I guess if you go 2-drop, 3-drop minecart, you attack with minecart on turn 4, you can play one of these. Okay, that's pretty compelling. We have enough 2-drops we can actually make that happen. Breaches, maybe. How many pirates do we have? Not many, right? It's going to be just breaches triggering this. Yeah, it's just breaches pretty much. Yeah, I just don't think it's worth splashing just for that. Right, I don't. Just because it's a 3-drop, it's best on turn 3 later in the game. Like, this card is really good on turn 3 because you can start attacking with it, bottling your top card, drawing cards, getting treasure tokens. But the odds of us hitting a red by turn 3 is pretty low, I think. So as much as it pains me, I would put that in the sideboard. Although, of course, if you draw Promising Vein, yes, you can spend turn 2 getting your land and then turn 3 breaches. But I digress. Okay. So I think this is probably what we're looking at. Let's see how many cards this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So we got to cut about 5 cards from this. So what I normally do in this stage is, and I learned this trick from Limited Master Brian Wong, is I pick up all the cards that I'm not locked into playing. So I'll show you kind of this works. So I think I want to play 1 second chance or another chance I don't know about 2. I don't know about the Canonized in Blood. I think I would want both these land cyclers to have some stuff in the long game. Their dinosaurs to go with the Polani's Hatcher. I might not play this That Veteran. I think I probably want to play all of these. Might not play this Minecart. Might not play the Stone Tree. Might not play this Conservator. I don't feel like I have to play all these 2-drops, so I'm going to play some of them for sure. Okay, so once you've picked up all these cards, then you count how many cards you have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now the choice, you see what's out here, and the choice becomes playing, you have to pick 5 of these cards. So there's 10 cards here, I have to play half of them. So now I get to kind of choose and see how they're going to fit my deck. So I know I'm definitely going to want more 2-drops, okay? I'm going to start with that. So the question is, do you want Malamet Brawler or Baskin Capybara? Malamet Brawler is the stronger card as a 2-mana 2/2 as opposed to a 2-mana 1/3. But this deck wants to gum up the ground and kind of build toward this longer game, and I'm planning on descending. So I think I probably do want these Capybaras to become 4/3s later in the game. So I'm going to start with these Capybaras for 2 cards right away. And I think I'm going to want at least 1 more 2-drop, so I'm going to put down this Malamet Brawler. So now I get 2 more of these cards from this list. And although I know I was knocking the Minecart earlier today, and it does put us at a lot of 3-drops. A, it fixes our mana, and B, we have 3 really strong 5-drops. If you get 2-drop into Minecart into 5-drop, that's just going to be the game a lot of the time, right? So this is the case where we actually will try and do that curve. So that's 4 cards. Now I get 1 more of these. I'll tell you what I'm going to exclude. I've got 3 really strong 5-drops, so I'm going to cut them all in that Veteran. Okay. I already have 1 another chance. I am always looking for card advantage in these decks, but I think I want to cut the second one. Oh, I think I can definitely cut this Conservator. We have other 2-drops. I think I like more than that. So, man, this is getting a little tough. This is a ramp spell at 3. So this is once again a card that can go 3 to 5, although there's no guarantee it's going to fix our mana. Can craft one that caves in our graveyards. I think this card's probably going to go. I'll be descending some, but a counter each turn is not really what this deck wants to be doing, so I think I'm going to cut this guy. Now it's down to these 3. I either take another 2-drop, which is nice. I can take the Stone Tree, which helps us get to our 5-drop curve more. And with the 3 caves, it's actually reasonable that I will craft it into this 5/5 later on in the game. Or I can play this card, which is a bit of card advantage and just helps us bring back our bombs over and over again, right? It's like in Limited, if you just keep casting your bombs or help find your bombs, you'll be in really great shape. Plus, you can, helps build up your Descend, sort of too. You can argue that if our deck is about getting from 3 to 5, you do want to play this 5-drop, but I think I don't quite want it here. I think it's not the Brawler. I've got 5 2-drops. I think I'm going to not play the Brawler. So it's really between these 2. Do I want the card that's going to ramp me up? Or do I want this this 3-drop to get some creatures back? I think given the deck, and the fact that this isn't going to fix my mana necessarily, I think a little bit with the Minecart, why I'm willing to take the risk on it, is that it'll help me fix my mana to cast this on turn 5. But with this card, if I don't hit a red source off of it, I'm still not gonna be able to turbo into these 5-drops. So I think I just want to play this another chance for a bit of card advantage. Sealed games often go long, and it helps us reuse. Well, not this. This will die back into a land, but reuse these guys, or help us find this in the first place. Which, if you draw and cast this card, you're gonna be in amazing shape in a lot of games. So I think that's what I would do. And this is really an interesting sealed pool in that it's got some very individually strong cards, but is really low on removal, right? Our only removal spells are Tithing Blade and Mallet Battleglyph. So we're really gonna have to gum up the ground. But my plan here is gonna be gum up the ground and then try and kill them with these bomb rares. And hopefully that just gets the job done. But it might not, you know, and they're gonna have to live with that. But that's how I built this deck. But I'm curious, how would you have built this deck? Would you have gone red-green? Would you have tried doing something different? How would you have taken this strategy? Let me know in the comments down below. And everybody, I really hope you enjoy your pre-releases out there. It's a blast of a set. Have a lot of fun diving into the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and I hope this video is helpful for you. I'll talk with you again soon. In the meantime, have fun with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And remember, everybody, you got this.